Coachella Valley. That's where Golden Boy Promotions is at tonight, the last Friday in September. Another exciting fight card coming your way at the Bastie Resort and Casino. It's going to work towards the main event of Michael Perez and Peter Petrov, an eliminator. A lot on the line tonight. Special event center at the Bastie Springs, a home away from home for Golden Boy Promotions. That's coming up next on Ring TV. It was only about 100 degrees in late September at Coachella Valley. It's hot outside, it's gonna be hot inside as Golden Boy Promotions bringing you the stars of tomorrow. Tonight, we are inside the special event center. Usually there's concerts here, different kind of acts, but every single time that Golden Boy comes to the Coachella Valley, you get some fireworks every single time. Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher, and Steve Kim working towards the main event of Michael Perez and Peter Petrov, which a lot is on the line. It's an eliminator, and before we get into all that, we have the fighters in the undercard, the stars of tomorrow. But right now, we have a fighter. There you see, Bastie SAMIR from Ghana, now in Las Vegas, 30 years old, perfect 14-0. He takes on ADE SHABAZZ, who's 6-1. A very interesting one, Doug. You and I were talking about this. Normally a fight like this will be later on in the night, but they're going straight to the big boys.
Right, because this is a very competitive and interesting matchup on paper. Bastie SAMIR, he's the Olympian. He was the highly touted prospect some years ago, but he's been inactive for 3 years, so he's a bit of a question mark. And meanwhile, his opponent, ADE SHABAZZ, is a very capable boxer, was a good amateur, spent some time in the World Series of Boxing League for a while, and he's tall and rangy and a very good athlete.
Hey, Bastie SAMIR, 2008 Olympian out of Ghana. And our ring announcer, Pablo, is ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another night of prize fighting boxing, presented by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with Cerveza Tecate Born Bold. And it's all happening here at the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino in Indio, California, USA. This bout is set for 6 rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. And it's sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Commissioner John Carvelli, Executive Officer Andy Foster, your supervisor in attendance, Mike Riley, physician in ringside, Doctors Jeff Roberts and Pearl Hicks, timekeeper Mike Millsap, your 3 judges scoring, sus 3 jueces, Tony Krebs, Fernando Villarreal, and Zachary Young, and your 3rd man inside of the ring, Rudy Barragan. Introducing to you first, the fighter standing at the blue corner wearing multicolored trunks. His official weight, 166.4 pounds. Presentando ustedes en la esquina Tecate Azul, vistiendo calzoncillo color multicolor con un peso de 166.4 libras. Professionally, he stands with 6 victories, 1 low defeat, and 6 of those victories coming by the way of knockout. Representing Frankfurt, Germany, Sijoula, ADE SHABAZZ. And his opponent across the ring, standing in the red corner, wearing black trunks with white and silver trim. His official weight, 167 pounds. Y su oponente, peleando en la esquina Tecate Roja, vistiendo calzoncillo negro con blanco y gris, con un peso de 167 libras. As a professional, he stands undefeated with 14 victories, 1 draw, and all of his victories coming by the way of knockout. From Las Vegas, Nevada, Bastie SAMIR.
Chief seconds, fighters. All right, guys, you both already received your instructions. Do me a favor, obey my commands at all times and protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves. Come off hiding up the bell. Good luck to you both.
Rudy Barragan, referee in the ring. This was scheduled for 6 rounds in the super middleweight division. As always, use the hashtag RingTV, and we will get to your tweets. Send it to us all night long. Let us know wherever you're watching throughout Southern California, the United States, or overseas. Look at the tail of the tape for this one, Dougie.
Yeah, Bastie SAMIR is just 1 year younger at age 30. And ADE SHABAZZ, he's 3 inches taller. It's 6 foot tall, and he has a significant reach advantage. We'll see if he can put that to good use.
Bastie SAMIR, 30 years old, 14-0, 1 draw, 14 KOs. He's in the white and black. Born in Accra, Ghana. His opponent, Sijoula, ADE SHABAZZ, born in Frankfurt, Germany. Moved to the United States as a youth. Grew up in New Mexico. Now lives in Phoenix, Arizona. Valley resident. It's hit with the right hand. Good strong right by SAMIR to open it up. Bastie SAMIR, last time he was in the ring, 2014. Split decision over Isaac Cardona. Why the layoff? Visa problems. His visa expired in the United States, was forced to go back to Ghana. They're training in Ghana. He had 1 fight there that was not recognized by any sanctioning bodies. He said, I just wanted to hit somebody. And he's doing that. He worked out the visa problems back in the United States.
Accra, Ghana, that is best known for being the home of such pugilists as Nelson and Ike Bazooka Cortez. A very, very traditional boxing hotspot in Africa.
Wasn't there a fight recently? Comrie, right?
Richard Comey.
Richard
Comey.
Comey, yeah. And some years before that, there was a welterweight title holder named Joshua Clottey.
Clottey, that's another one, you mentioned it.
It's a rich boxing tradition that comes out of Accra. And SAMIR is, he's taking his time, and he has timing. It doesn't look like there's a lot of ring rust on him. And I like that he's taking his time, because that was one of my chief criticisms about him out of the 2008 Olympics, is that he was always in a hurry. He was in there and he was impetuous. And although he was fast, powerful, and explosive, he was also reckless.
Yeah, there was that old John Woodenism, be quick but don't be in a hurry, and that certainly described his early style. Here I think he's doing a nice job of actually closing the distance, and you see an overhand right. I think SHABAZZ needs to do a better job of utilizing his height and his reach and at least putting out more than just a token jab.
Body work by SAMIR. SHABAZZ in the green, yellow, and red. 6-1. He said his only loss, the fight he took on a couple days' notice, went up, wasn't prepared for it. Now he's being more selective on when they call him 2 days beforehand to jump on into the ring.
And Beto, SHABAZZ himself has been inactive. His last bout was October of 2014, so there might be ring rust on both sides. It seems to me early on the physical strength of SAMIR is really telling early on.
And he sent a message with that lead right hand that he landed shortly after the opening bell. And I think SHABAZZ needs to get his confidence going. But I think it starts with his jab, a nice hard jab. He's got to get some respect.
Bigger shots landed by SAMIR here.
Oh,
opening
good
round,
right hand.
Up against the ropes, going to get counted as a knockdown as SHABAZZ gets caught with the overhand right. There you see the trainer of...
That's Kenny Adams, a Hall of Fame worthy veteran trainer.
Yeah, went into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, and that'll do it for the first round. It goes down as a 10-8.
My goodness, great first round right there. Want to remind the fans that at 6 p.m. right here inside of Fantasy Spring Casino, right over the Tecate Born Bull Bar area, get your Sharpies and cameras ready to meet Iran the Blade Barkley. Get a photo with the man who held world titles in the middleweight, super middleweight, and lightweight, heavyweight division. It's going down right here at 6 p.m. Iran the Blade Barkley, former middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight world champion.
Let's see how SAMIR scored this knockdown. Swarming him right now, upstairs and downstairs. Nice right to the chest, left hook to the head, and a clipping right. It was a right to the forehead that sent SHABAZZ reeling into the ropes, which was a technical knockdown because those ropes were the only thing holding him up.
Yeah, and that was a Tim Witherspoon-esque overhand right, and I thought from the very onset, SHABAZZ simply did not do a good job of establishing his distance, and that overhand right has been there from the very beginning for Bastie SAMIR.
Second round scheduled for 6. Once again, use the hashtag RingTV. We'll check it out all throughout the night. Bastie SAMIR, nickname Dubia. So he has a new nickname, Son of Man. Started boxing at the age of 9, along with his brother Isa. Isa was also a 2008 Olympian in Beijing. Overhand right from SAMIR coming out right away.
SHABAZZ does not have a defense for that overhand right. It gets over his left every time. He needs to get the left going.
Attacking is SAMIR in the black and white. Juice, as they call him, SHABAZZ backpedaling here in the second round.
This is not his style. It is not his style to stick and move like this and backpedal. He is usually a busy and aggressive boxer. He boxes tall from the distance, but he likes to come forward, not able to do so against SAMIR.
ADE SHABAZZ was a member of the World Series of Boxing, where it was technically amateurs, but they were fighting pro style with the LA Matadors, trained with Manny Robles. He was sparring with Slava Shabransky, the Golden Boy fighter. That was his main sparring partner. And here he is against Bastie SAMIR, getting work here early on in the fight.
Very different statures, and Shabransky's somebody who's his height, actually taller and just as rangy. SAMIR is a compact, a short, stocky fighter, but knows how to fight that way. He's able to be effective on the outside, despite being the shorter man with the shorter arms.
SHABAZZ may have found something, though. He's starting to be sneaky with that left hook in between some of the attacks of SAMIR, and now he's starting to establish a little bit more distance. Early on, I think that left hook in round number 2 has made SAMIR think about just going in unimpeded.
There have been some sneaky right hands from SHABAZZ as well in this round, and he needs to land those punches because he needs to get his own confidence and he needs to earn some respect.
Two fighters in the ring for the first time in a couple of years, maybe just shaking off that little bit of rust. Feel each other out here. SHABAZZ, Arizona, trained by Rick Ponce. SHABAZZ's father, black belt, martial arts, strict Nigerian dad is SHABAZZ. Mom, Sicilian. That's why the Sicilian flag's on one side. Ghana, Nigerian on the other side.
Man of the world, and he was born in Germany.
Yes, sir. SHABAZZ has a karate background. Started boxing at the age of 17. Fell in love with it as he met Austin Trout in New Mexico.
SHABAZZ's corner believes that their man has found something here in the final minute of round number 2, and he is having his moments. I think he is causing SAMIR to second-guess himself a little bit.
Good round between SAMIR and SHABAZZ. Opening bout on Ring TV in Indio, California. Main event tonight, Michael the Artist Perez, Newark, New Jersey, Puerto Rican, walking in to the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. He takes on Peter Petrov, an eliminator in the WBA lightweight division. What does that mean, Steve Kim, eliminator in the WBA?
Well, it's very simple. The winner of this becomes, in essence, the mandatory, but there is a time frame to adhere to. Jorge Linares beat Anthony Corolla last week in a good fight. There was a rematch clause. Most likely that fight will happen sometime in February or March of 2017. According to Robert Diaz, Golden Boy head matchmaker, the right hand injury of Jorge Linares will keep him out of the gym 4 to 6 weeks. I believe that rematch will happen sometime in the spring, and the winner gets dibs on the rematch victor.
Third round of action. First fight scheduled for 6 rounds. There's 7 fights total on the schedule tonight. Bethel Duran, Steve Kim, and Doug Fisher. Opening round, SHABAZZ went down. It was held up by the ropes. Rudy Barragan, the referee, counted it as a knockdown. Bastie SAMIR in the black and white.
Doug, I do think in the last minute or so of round number 2, there was a not so subtle momentum shift. I thought SHABAZZ started to find his sea legs a little bit and began to time the attacks of SAMIR. SAMIR's just rushing in there unimpeded without the jab. A lot of lead right hands and lead left hooks. That, I think they need to do it. If I'm Kenny Adams, I tell Bastie, get your distance, close the distance by working behind a jab and doubling up behind it and getting a little bit lower.
Bastie SAMIR living in Las Vegas. All City Athletics is where they're training at. He in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame with Kenny Adams. SAMIR, at one point in his career, served as a sparring partner for Floyd Mayweather.
That might have been before the Miguel Cotto fight.
Thanks to Cynthia at UCLA watching this fight. waiting out the 405 traffic, why not? We got 7 fights for you tonight. Don't need to sit in traffic on a Friday. We got Steve,
but
Doug,
please,
and
keep your eye on the road. Safety first here.
good left hook from Bastie SAMIR.
SAMIR has certain moves that he does in there where it's instinctual, it's reflexive. You know, one fighter throws something and he has an automatic counter for it, and that speaks to the amateur experience that he had and the young age that he started boxing. He started boxing at 8. SHABAZZ started boxing at 17. SHABAZZ, you can tell he's thinking in there all the time. Everything he does, it's calculated, and he has to sort of make himself do it. SAMIR, at times, acts instinctively, and he's very dangerous when he does.
He does, but Doug, one thing, looking at the body language of SAMIR, he is now laboring just a little bit. I think cardiovascularly, he is struggling just a tad, and he gets himself very upright in mid-range, and this is when SHABAZZ is able to really land clean punches. One thing, if you're going to be small, you have to make yourself small even on the inside as you're charging in. SAMIR leaves himself just a little bit too tall, even at that size.
I agree. I agree. He's only 5'8", 5'9", but it would suit him to, when he gets close, fight out of a crouch.
Yeah.
Bob and weave, get under some punches.
And that's one thing trainers will tell you. When you're inside, no matter what your stature, they'll always tell you,
bend your knees.
Yeah, make yourself small. And in essence, that is what they're telling you. Bend your knees and get down at the waist a little bit.
And you get more leverage on your shots when you do that.
Good action between Bastie SAMIR and ADE SHABAZZ. Opening bout on the Golden Boy Promotions card in Indio, California.
I'm gonna stop the fight. You understand me? You don't. Do you want to fight or you don't? You just here for the ride. You act like you're here for the fucking ride. You got a jab, you start hitting with the hook, drive your punches. We done throw combinations this year. Why in the hell can't you throw them now? Explain to me why you can't throw them now. You don't know why. Second down.
Let's look at some action from a competitive round 3. That's a nice counter left hook from SAMIR. And SAMIR scoring with an overhand right. That's been his choice punch so far during the fight. But SHABAZZ definitely had his moments in round 3.
3 rounds in the books. You guys keep a score here?
I've got all 3 rounds for Bastie SAMIR plus a 10-8 round in the opening frame. However, rounds 2 and 3 were competitive.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Doug, I actually flipped round 2 for SHABAZZ. I have a 29-27 SAMIR. Let's see if there could be a late rally here from SHABAZZ.
I tell you what, his trainer, Kenny Adams, he sees it as a tight fight, and he's already cracking the whip with SAMIR saying, hey, man, do you want to fight or not? Are you here for the ride? Let's get going.
Kenny Adams has a storied career. He was actually a prolific amateur coach, and I think he was one of the head coaches in 1988. Was a very good
yes,
U.S.
He was.
Olympic
He was the head coach in '88, and he was assistant coach in 1984.
He is a no-nonsense disciplinarian. He is not a player's coach in that corner.
A taskmaster.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe Kenny Adams.
More of that. There's too many.
Yeah,
right?
I don't disagree. A lot of yes men.
A lot of buddies in there.
Body work from SHABAZZ, the taller fighter. Juice is the nickname. You see it across his belt. Father of an 8-month-old girl, Zara. His wife in attendance. Rick Ponce is his trainer and father-in-law for SHABAZZ. Bastie SAMIR, 14-0, 14 KOs, 1 draw. You can see it though, those heavy hands against some opponents who probably weren't prepared for that. Dropping them. Here, SHABAZZ is hanging tough with them.
Well, a lot of guys feel that power, and if it doesn't knock them out, it puts them in a defensive shell. It turns them immediately into survivors and not fighters. And to SHABAZZ's credit, he's still in there trying to win. He's still in there looking for openings and looking for opportunities to make SAMIR pay for some of these wide, wild shots.
You know, Bastie SAMIR has a philosophy: swing hard, you might hit something.
He swung hard with that uppercut, missed, and got tagged with one.
I do think looking forward, if Samir's going to continue on and face better guys, you know, Doug, if you look at his stature, I don't know. He might be better suited off at 160 than 168.
If he can make
Yeah.
160, definitely, he should go down.
He's never fought at 160.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've always said losing weight is a lot easier when you have to do it rather than me. So that's the way it goes.
The lightest he's ever fought, Samir, 161 in 2011. He's got that thick build. to him.
Yeah, he is. And his muscle is very dense as well. But I tell you what, if he's going to be a super middleweight, can't throw one shot at a time. He's going to have to work behind a jab, and he's going to have to put punches together whenever he's in range.
Final seconds of the 4th round. Keep the tweets coming to Ring TV. Good fight between SHABAZZ and Samir. And another good one's going to be hard to judge, but the main event, we already saw Michael Perez. Here's El Zar, Peter Petrov. Born in Russia, grew up in Spain, now calls Southern California home. A very tough fighter, 37-4-2. And that's the main event later on tonight as he takes on Michael Perez.
Don't forget to hit us up on our social media device, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. It's all lead to @GoldenBoyBoxing. @GoldenBoyBoxing. You're going to have a chance to win some great prizes tonight by following us @GoldenBoyBoxing. Hitting us with a selfie section, seat, row. Got autograph signed gloves. We got some goodies for y'all, so all you got to do is hit us.
Samir runs into a short left uppercut on his way in. Just misses with a wild swinging left hook.
Fifth round of action. Bastie Samir, black and white. ADE SHABAZZ. Green and white, red, yellow. Good opening bout, 7 fights on the card. Fancy Springs Resort and Casino. Filling in quickly. Have a couple fighters coming up making their pro debuts from the Coachella Valley, and Javier Padilla and Luis Cordia. And Alexis Rocha, Gennaro Gomez. Up next is Jonathan Thunder Navarro from East LA. Good matchup set up by Robert Diaz and Javier Raza, the matchmakers for Golden Boy. But right now, Bastie Samir and ADE SHABAZZ are in a good one.
Yeah, I think SHABAZZ is doing very well so far in this round. It seems to me, Steve, that he has figured out the offensive patterns of Samir, and he's able to anticipate and protect himself a lot better in these rounds than he did in the opening two.
Yeah, he seems much more comfortable laying out that jab, although, again, he's going to have pockets of problems when Samir's able to close the gap. But I also think Samir's pacing has slowed down just a little bit. Almost came out of there sprinting out of the block. And, again, we talk about the layoff of Samir. It's been about 2, 3, 4 years since he last fought. It's not necessarily a surprise. Stuff like that leaping left hook, I think that's going to be something Kenny Adams is really going to stress on not to do so often.
SHABAZZ looks like he's recovered from getting not knocked down, but he went up against the ropes. It was rolled and knocked down in the first, but it's been almost 2 years to the date that he's been in the ring, October 10th, 2014. And you mentioned Samir, Steve, last sanctioned fight on record, on a box rec, Fight Facts, 2013, almost 3 years on his record.
You know, I remember watching him in 2012 in London at the Olympics, just on TV. I actually thought he was a very good prospect, and I know, Doug, you called some of his fights from the Nokia Theater. I don't think he ever truly got comfortable making that transition from the amateur to the pros.
You see the power that he has with him, but Juice has been able to take it.
Yeah.
Keep using the Ring TV hashtag. Shout out to La Villita, Nochislan, Zacatecas, Mexico watching right now. Of course, San Fernando Valley CHP department. Can't say the names for there, but do appreciate it and thank you for working on Friday night. If somebody's watching this right now, we appreciate it. Bastie Samir, ADE SHABAZZ. Stay with us all night long. Steve Kim's news and notes. The boxing calendar starting to fill up. And more action coming your way. The Fancy Springs Resort and Casino. Golden Boy Promotions on Ring TV. Season ticket holder for the LA Rams, Javier Razzo, he had a very tough job this week as a couple fighters weren't able to fill their part of the contract. He had to find in some substitutes, able to do it. He, along with Robert Diaz, do a good job, make sure get the fight sanctioned, get the commission to go, and match him up well. There you go, Razzo. And that's ADE SHABAZZ in the 6th round.
So lead right, just stopped short from SHABAZZ. SAMIR is working his way in, not landing all of his shots, but I think landing enough shots in the previous round to win. I scored round 5 for SAMIR after scoring round 4 for SHABAZZ.
Sixth and final round. Juice's corner is telling them they need it big for SHABAZZ. Joshua Something watching the fight. Steve, thanks for watching. Corey Seager, Rookie of the Year, is watching with Steve Kim in Santa Ana, or Santana as the locals call it. And your fighter from Santa Ana or Santana, Alexis Rocha, coming up around 7 o'clock tonight Pacific time. And you hear that all day, that's how he says it, all day, SHABAZZ, say it slow, you can't say it too fast. How do you guys have it after 5?
I got 4-1 for SAMIR. I scored round 4 for SHABAZZ. I think you can make an argument for SHABAZZ winning another round in there, but I think you got to have SAMIR ahead, particularly based on that 10-8 first round.
And Doug, it's funny you say that. I actually did give him another round. I gave him the 5th, but I have Bastie SAMIR ahead by 2 with about 2 minutes to go, 48-46.
Bastie SAMIR, Golden Boy Promotions fighter. They recently re-signed him. See how they're going to bring him along at the age of 30. Interesting where he's going to be in the weight division, right, Steve?
Well, as you pointed out, it looks like despite his stature, he's going to be at 68. You know, but listen, there's no monsters at 68 with guys like James DeGale and Badu Jack. But I do think there's a lot of work to be done here. Obviously, we know he's going to be a little bit rusty. He has a world-class trainer in Kenny Adams. But I think it's a lot of the little things he has to work on. If you take a look at right now what's going on, he's throwing a lot of slapping punches, and I think that's a product of fatigue. I do think working off the jab, sliding his feet underneath him a little bit better to get into position, because basically everybody he fights from this point forward is probably going to be a little bit taller than him. So him navigating through the mid-range, I think, is going to be a very key element of where he goes.
It'll help him if he learns to tuck that chin and not be so upright on his way in. Work on sort of a bob and weave move. Move his head, move his upper body, but make yourself shorter when you're in mid-range and when you're in close.
And ADE SHABAZZ, he's a tough one in there. Chick off the rust a couple rounds, starting to get a good lather, just only 6-round fight. An interesting fighter. You can definitely see him getting called for more fights.
Oh yeah, no, he can give a lot of guys that work. He can give people good work because he's durable. He doesn't give up. He's technically sound. He's very capable in there. It's a little bit tight, kind of a tight, little bit, I don't know, maybe mechanical is the word for it. Like I said, he had a late start to boxing, so he's not going to be the most fluid guy out there. But you can see he just landed a nice little hook there. He's there to fight, and he wants to win.
Final seconds of the fight between Bastie SAMIR and ADE SHABAZZ. Our opening scrap is in the books. We'll be back with a decision. Golden Boy Boxing in Coachella Valley, Southern California on Ring TV. Judges, As our stage manager's about to trip over himself, relax. Don't hurt yourself, man. We got 6 more fights to go there, Luis, with a Chavez or Gonzalez with an S, whoever you are. Get yourself ready. We ready to go to the ring announcer? He's over there pointing. There you go. He's doing the job. Let's go to Pablo, the ring announcer, who has the card. There you see Bastie, SAMIR. Bastie, SAMIR. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ken Adams is going to take him back to the gym and let him know some choice words.
There's a lot of coaching to be done. This is a bit of a rush-shaking experience.
That's how I view it.
Yeah, you know,
getting your feet wet again.
Vince Lombardi once said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. I think in boxing, fatigue breaks down fundamentals, and that's what we saw, which is to be expected. I think Samir's strong, physical guy. How he changes or evolves his offensive approach, I think will be key.
Let's go to Pablo now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Después de 6 rounds de combate, nos vamos con las tarjetas de los jueces. All 3 judges have scored the same. Los 3 jueces coinciden en sus tarjetas. 58 to 55, 58 a 55. Therefore, your winner by the way of unanimous decision, su ganador por la vía de la decisión unánime. And still undefeated, Bastie SAMIR.
All right, Steve, you had the correct scorecard.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, as they're reading the scorecards, Kenny Adams is kind of gesturing to me, doesn't seem all that happy. And again, you said it, he's a taskmaster. He is not a friendly corner, he's not a sycophant. There's a lot of work to be done in the eyes of Kenny Adams.
That's okay. I mean, I think it's better that Golden Boy matched Samir in tough with a guy who's going to expose some flaws, who's going to give him an opportunity to knock off rust, as we see highlights from the bout. And it was a competitive bout, as your scorecard and the 3 official judges' scorecard showed. I think that's a lot better than getting somebody who's going to get knocked out in 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah.
That doesn't do Samir any good. That just makes him think, hey, I can walk through anybody. Why improve? I'm seeing a lot of tweets from fans saying, hey, Samir was lucky that this was just scheduled for 6 rounds.
You know, basically after a 3-4 year layoff, I think basically a 6-rounder was appropriate.
So do I.
The one thing he's going to have to work on, I think his punching frame got very wide in the second half of the fight. Again, that might be fatigue. May not have had a lot left in the tank, but I do think he needs to sharpen and compact his punches moving forward.
Beto Duran, Steve Kim, and Doug Fisher. 1 fight in the book. 6 more to go. The next one's going to feature Jonathan Navarro against Farkhad Sharipov. And that's coming your way right now. They're moving them quick, Will. We're keeping up here on Ring TV. That gives us a chance. Keep sending your tweets.